Let us unite in common effort to chart a new course for America. This was the moment when the rise of the oceans began to slow and our planet began to heal. This was the moment, this was the time when we came together to remake this great nation.
One of the things I think the next president has to do is to stop fanning people's fears.
Glaciers are melting at a pace unprecedented in modern times.
This is serious. The millions of gallons of oil that have spilled into the Gulf of Mexico are more like an epidemic. The recession we faced when I took office was even deeper than anyone thought at the time.
You never want a serious crisis to go to waste.
Financial crisis, credit crisis,
escalating crisis.
And what I mean by that, it's an opportunity to do things that you think you could not do before.
At a time of historic crisis in our auto industry.
Climate change poses immediate risks to our national security.
This is a major threat to our economy.
Our generation may not even live to see the full realization of what we do here.
If we don't act swiftly and boldly, most experts now believe that we could lose millions of jobs.
We have to work quickly.
What is not negotiable is the need for immediate action.
We can and must turn this moment of challenge into one of opportunity.
We've already begun to implement the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act.
We've got to keep pushing to prepare for the impacts of climate change.
What I've said is that we would put a cap and trade system in place that is as aggressive, if not more aggressive, than anybody else's out there.
Today, I am directing agencies to purchase 100% alternative fuel, hybrid or electric vehicles by 2015. Today, my administration proposed new fuel standards for buses and tractor trailers and other heavy-duty vehicles. The true engine of economic growth will always be companies like Solyndra.
If somebody wants to build a coal-powered plant, they can. It's just that it will bankrupt them.
In my mind, there was no candidate for the job of chief of staff who would meet the bill as well as Rahm Emanuel.
I am thrilled that we have Secretary Sebelius taking the reins.
Everybody does their fair share. Everybody plays by the same set of rules. Nobody wants a handout. Nobody wants to get something for nothing.
Expand unemployment insurance for more people and more time.
I think when you spread the wealth around, it's good for everybody. The era of greed, an era of selfishness and greed. If you've been successful, you didn't get there on your own. You didn't get there on your own. I'm always struck by people who think, well, it must be because I was just so smart.
The last thing we need is a permanent tax cut for Americans who don't need them and weren't even asking for them.
It's a plan tailored to the realities of today's auto market, dependent on an unending flow of taxpayer dollars. I'll make our government open and transparent so that anyone can ensure that our business is the people's business. No more national security letters to spy on citizens who are not suspected of a crime.
The IRS, as an independent agency, requires absolute integrity, and people have to have confidence that they're applying it in a nonpartisan way.
Government generally has to conduct itself in a way that is true to the public trust. That's especially true for the IRS.
Mass corruption, not even a smidgen of corruption.
Eric Holder, the Attorney General, has been very clear.
He's indicated that he was not aware of what was happening in Fast and Furious. Certainly I was not.
I heard on the news about this story that Fast and Furious.
When there's a bill that ends up on my desk as president, you, the public, will have 5 days to look online and find out what's in it before I sign it. The way to make government accountable is make it transparent, so that the American people can know exactly what decisions are being made, how they're being made, and whether their interests are being well served. One of the steps we've taken to boost our economy is an initiative known as Cash for Clunkers. We need to build a 21st century VA that will better serve all who've answered our nation's call.
I believe that marriage is the union between a man and a woman.
Talked about my Muslim faith, my Christian faith.
I want to make it happen with you, AFL-CIO.
And Congress should fund research into the effects that violent video games have on young minds.
Make it harder, not impossible, but harder for individuals to get access to weapons.
When it comes to telephone calls, nobody is listening to your telephone calls.
Black America, in the aggregate, is better off now than it was when I came into office.
There's a crude and disgusting video sparked outrage throughout the Muslim world.
Our approach would preserve the right of Americans who have insurance to keep their doctor in their plan.
The Republicans in Congress are poisoning Obamacare, then trying to claim it's sick.
Nothing in this plan will require you or your employer to change the coverage of the doctor you have.
One congressman said that Obamacare is the most dangerous piece of legislation ever passed.
Universal health care claim. That's what I'd like to see. But as all of you know, we may not get there immediately.
No matter what you've heard, if you like your doctor or health care plan, you can keep it.
Our deficits are falling at the fastest pace in 60 years.
This is part of the whole theory of George Bush, that he can make laws as he's going along. I disagree with that. I taught the Constitution for 10 years. I believe in the Constitution, and I will obey the Constitution of the United States.
I know some people want me to bypass Congress and change the laws on my own. That's not how our system works.
Where Congress isn't acting, I'll act on my own.
That's not how our democracy functions. That's not how our Constitution is written.
I've got a pen and I've got a phone, and that's all I need.
Our goal has been first to contain, and we have contained them. We're going to get ISIL. They will be defeated.
I think Hillary will go down as one of the finest Secretary of States we've had. My fellow Americans, tonight I want to speak to you about what the United States will do with our friends and allies to degrade and ultimately destroy the terrorist group known as ISIL. This is going to take time. There are going to be many challenges ahead. The battle-hardened elements of ISIS that grew out of al-Qaeda in Iraq during the course of the Iraq War. It's going to take time for us to be able to roll them back.
The overall effort is going to take time. There are challenges ahead, but we are going to do what is necessary to take the fight to ISIL.
This is something that's going to take time, and it's certainly going to demand patience.
It's going to take time to dislodge these terrorists, especially from urban areas. But our coalition is on the offensive. ISIL is on the defensive.
Building up the capacity of a willing and capable local fighting force is going to take time.
I am confident that although it is going to take time and there will be setbacks and lessons learned,
the strategy that we are putting forward is the strategy that ultimately is going to work. But as I said from the start, it's going to take time.
The one thing we do know is that we have a pattern now of mass shootings in this country that has no parallel anywhere else in the world.
There have been times where America's shown arrogance.
We do have to address the grievances that terrorists exploit, including economic grievances.
You now know me. You know that I mean what I say. One Republican warned that one of these days you and I are going to spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free. That was Ronald Reagan.